Hello YouTube, welcome to another video. I hope isolation's doing okay for you. I know it's tough for a lot of people out there. So I thought I'd quickly do this quick video of my Star Wars collection. Now if you saw my Action room tour, which is kind of, it was all a bit dark and a bit crowded and stuff, and there wasn't much time for the Star Wars stuff. So I thought I'd give a bit of a review again. So my room has changed slightly. I've now got a bed in here and I've taken out the some of the shelving units which I usually have my stock on. So instead, I'm probably going to still keep the Star Wars collection here for a while until I get myself a lodger or a housemate. Hopefully they'll be into Star Wars as well. But anyway, so yes, this is my Star Wars collection. Now I'm going to start from the top. And right at the top here we have a few things. I'm going to include all the other stuff as well. So on the right is a sonic neutralizer gun. That's a Batman gun. It came out in 1990, I believe. It's for the 1989 Batman film. You might notice that it's made by Kenner, and as it's made by Kenner, they've recycled the old Stormtrooper gun and put an orange weird disc thing on the front and put a Batman sticker on it. Not the best toy in the world. Not really Batman, if you know what I mean. Can't remember Batman ever having a gun with a scope on it. But I had it as a kid and I loved it, and then I saw it on eBay. I just had to have it. I've actually got a second one for sale if anybody's interested. On the top left we have the Action Man searchlight made by Palitoy. These are pretty cool. These are actual working light. Takes a battery at the bottom, and your Action Man would hold it on the side, and you can spin it around and then shine the light. It goes on the back of a you can put on the back of like a Land Rover, or you can have it like mounted normally. Then up on the left we have the Kenner Land Speeder. I bought it offline. I basically got it for £50 posted, I think. And on the right we have the Tauntaun. I paid, I think it was £15. I couldn't believe it. I was at a toy fair, I think it was at NEC in Birmingham. Always a good show. And I'm always after anything Star Wars really. And this chap had a stall filled with dinkies and corgis and that sort of stuff. He had one Star Wars box on it, and he said nobody's asked him the whole show how much it was. He said he'll happily do £15 on it. So I snapped that up. It's pretty much complete in there. One of the straps is broke, unfortunately. And next to that we have my favourite vehicle, the Imperial Troop Transporter. It doesn't actually appear in Star Wars. It appears in later films, or films that come afterwards, and I think it appears in comic books. It works. You can press the button on the back and it will say all the phrases. To me, this is a really iconic kind of 70s toy. It's one of those toys where they kind of make up on the spot just to make some extra money so they can have some more vehicles to sell, and I've always loved it. Palitoy box, it's got a few marks on it, but generally it's quite a nice box altogether. Now let me explain something in my collection. My collection is what I call a kind of like find it, see it kind of collection. I don't actively go out to try and buy anything, apart from a few things. I don't really go on eBay. Nothing wrong with going on eBay if you're into that sort of thing, but for me, I'm not a completist in that sense when it comes to Star Wars. It's a case of if I see it on the go, I buy it. If I see it cheap, I buy it. I think this is by far the most expensive thing I've ever purchased, actually. This is Empire Strikes Back Kenner card with a Star Wars display arena offer. Really nice Luke Skywalker card. The bubble's got hardly any wear to it. The figure is nice. Unfortunately, it has that there. Imagine a price tag was there, and some collector thought it'd be fun to try and rip the price tag off to make things cheaper. But so unfortunately I paid like £170 for this. The most I've ever paid for a Star Wars thing. I really wanted a Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back card in my collection. So yeah, I paid up for it. And then at the back here we have a graded deep sea diver outfit. I'm not going to get it out because it's a pain. It's massive, the box. I mean, look at the gap in between where the box ends and the credit case ends. I wish they made that a bit more tighter. And then we have some Action Man. All these are original. We have the French Foreign Resistance, the Action Man Sailor, which I'll just gently move this away. Action Man Fireman. And then here we have one of the Huskies. Then you have the Action Man Space Explorer, one of the most rarest Action Man outfits you can find. The overalls themselves are quite easy to find, the white overall. Without the badge, they're about £25 to £30. The helmets often sell for £60 plus, maybe more sometimes. The boots on in the yellow boots, they are now quite expensive, £40–50. I haven't got anything else, unfortunately, for him. I'm missing like the pickup arm and the backpack. They're hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So one day I might be able to complete him. He is missing his badge on his torso as well. Behind there we have the Cold It set. I've got 2 of those. We have a Crash Crew set behind there and a US Airborne set. Then we have the 1966 England 1966 kit. I think this came out in the late 60s. Came out in red and white. And at back there we have a few figures. We have some Russians at the back, RAF, and the Battle of Britain. Now down here we have 2 of my figures. Now I wasn't born when Star Wars was around. When Star Wars was, in shops. I was born in 1988, so I didn't have Star Wars brand new as a kid. But what I did have was car boot self finds, and these 2 are my favourite. My friend, his mum when they used to go car boot sales, they used to actively look out for Star Wars figures for me because they knew I loved it, and they knew I couldn't get hold of them because anything I had was Bendhams, and Bendhams were absolutely rubbish. So these are 2 I'm going to keep forever. And then we have the Batman Corgi car. It comes from the very first ever job lot of toys I ever got. A lovely chap, he sold me a load of Corgi stuff and a load of Action Man stuff. I can keep my hand still. And that was in there. Next we have what's one of my worst purchases ever. This was an auction purchase. Paid, I think it was like £80 for it. Now, I wasn't going to keep it, I was going to resell it. If you can see it because of the glare. It's Empire Strikes Back AT-80 driver, or ATA if you will. It's not a kind of card. It's quite nice, the bubble's really lovely. Unfortunately, it's got some litho damage on the side. And the proof of purchase has been cut out, you notice here, the whole of the back. But annoyingly, the one thing I wasn't made aware of when I purchased it was that the bubble is actually split all the way down the side. It's like a perfect split. I don't think they really noticed it in the auction room until I took it home, which is a real shame. So I was thinking I can maybe make profit on it. But, you can't. That's one of the things about being a dealer, you take those risks. But, it was a lovely card. And then we got some giant size tops and Empire Strikes Back cards. They're usually quite cheap. You can pick them up for about £5. And then we have my main display area of figures. So we go from the back. The Wampa is from when I was a kid. I found him at a car boot sale. No, I didn't. I remember I found him. I found him at there's a toy shop in Bristol called, I think it was called Air 51. I think it's still there. On Gloucester Road in Bristol. And they used to have a load of old vintage Star Wars toys, but they used to go really cheap. And I think I paid like £3 for him. Then we have some Snowtroopers, my favourite figure, I think. At least one of my favourites. We have this awesome die-cast Snowspeeder. That came from a place in Amsterdam. I think it's called Out Space Toys or Out of Time Toys. That R2-D2 was from when I was a kid. Another one of the Titans. At the back we have a custom Luke Skywalker. Then we have a Landspeeder. I got this Landspeeder off of a diecast Landspeeder. I got this Landspeeder off of Joe from Leicester Toys. He was at NEC Toy Fair. I think he sold it to me for like £3 or something. At the back we got some erasers, rubbers. They came from a Shetland Toy Fair. Those are actually quite expensive. I think I paid like £3 each for them. I don't have many last 17 figures because of the price. But I got 1 or 2. Now I bought the Anakin from a place in Bristol called Collector's Cave. They're on Stokes Croft. They are in a kind of flea market, antique market mall sort of thing. Big emporium. They do loads and loads of vinyl now. They're really into their vinyl. So if you like me, you like your records, go there. They have lots of good like hip hop, trip hop, Bristol dance stuff, house stuff, as well as the rock and roll stuff. But they also have loads of good toys. the guy who runs it, the two guys who run it actually, I think one's called Guy, one's called Ben. They know a lot about Star Wars toys. Some of the usual figures. That one there was given to me by a toy Palitoy, Dave. That I believe is a Japanese release of R2-D2. Then all these figures here, believe it or not, pretty much most of them came from either car boot sales or people have given me them. A lot of family and friends have said, "Oh, my dad's got some figures in the loft. Do you want them?" And they just given to me. And some of them also came from auctions. So one of my biggest auction purchases was, I think I paid about £100 for about 50 Star Wars figures, which all in all was pretty good, because it came with 3 or 4, well, not 3 or 4, 1 or 2 R5D4s, whatever the name is, that one there. It came with a few Luke Skywalkers as well, and a few Boba Fett's, so I was able to trade up and resell some stuff and gave some stuff away and got some things back from people. And at the back we have some of my Carter figures. So these are all sealed apart from Chief Chirpa. So Chief Chirpa was the first Carter figure I ever bought. I bought him off a guy, I bought him at an auction, and I paid like £49 for him. I remember there was another collector there who was adamant this was a Toy Tony, and I bought a fake, but no, it's not Toy Tony. But he unfortunately fell out of his bubble. His bubble is not brown or yellowed, it's white, well, not white, clear. And while I was doing a bit of cleaning, I accidentally turned him upside down, and Chief Chirpa came straight out, which is sad really. I make sure to not move them in the correct order now, not turn them upside down, because as soon as you turn them upside down, these figures pop out. I got Han and Leia together. I think I paid £140 for the pair, which I think is not a bad deal. Han is ever so slightly yellowed, but it's like really, really off clear, if that's a word you can use. Leia's really nice. At the back, you can't see it, is an AT-ST driver on the Trilogo card. And one of my favourite purchases, I do really well at car boot sales. I don't know what it is. People, some say, you never find deals at car boot sales. Well, if you get there early and you properly dig, and I mean properly dig in boxes and go through every stall and not just walk around expecting to have, good vintage toys for sale, you will occasionally find something. And I randomly been walking around for 2 or 3 hours by this point, thinking about going home, and I saw one stall, one woman, and she had this on it, which is the Klaatu Skiff Guard Trilogo card, sealed. And I could not believe it. I went to her, I said, how much is this? How much is this? And she was £10. I was like, I'll have it. Do you have any more? No, it's the only one I have. It's the only one we found. On the whole table must have had 2 or 3 books, an old VHS, 1 pair of shoes or something, and then this. And that was all it was on that table. So how nobody saw this is unbelievable. I just don't understand how nobody saw this. But yeah, Trilogo. I mean, it's got a bit of bubble damage. Like, it's not, nothing's broken or anything, but it is a little bit dented up, but still clear. So that was one of my favourite finds at the car boot sale. I mean, to find vintage Star Wars in loose can be quite hard, can be quite tricky. But to find vintage Star Wars carded, you never see it. And one of my other good toy finds at a car boot sale was this. A man. So I was walking around telling my dad about somebody I think it was somebody's daughter went to a car boot sale and found this figure. And they paid like £1 for it. And I was literally telling him about it. As I walked around the corner, there was one on a stall. I could not believe it. It was like fate. And so I said to the woman, do you have any more? And she's like, no, that's the only one I have. But I do have a whole garage filled with vintage toys, including Star Wars. And I was like, oh my God. So I took her number and I said to her, if you're interested, I'm happy to come and have a look. And she said, why don't I bring it all round to you in my car? I can come around after the car boot sale. So I waited nervously for a couple of hours thinking this is never going to happen. And she turned up. Unfortunately, she had hardly any Star Wars figures at all. She had a Princess Leia in Hoth gear at the back there, in the middle, the white. But what she did have was this stick. So I finally got a complete whatever his name is. Which is always good to find last 17 figures complete, because they are a nightmare to find by the weapons separately. But what they did have in the bags and bags of figures was loads of He-Man, Thundercats, Ghostbusters, Visionaries was in there. What else was in there? There's loads of things in there. Loads of really vintage board games, that sort of stuff. It was amazing. Such a great lot. And I paid about £250 a lot, and I've sold every single thing now, apart from that figure and the staff and Leia. So this is the next shelf, and I'm going to get on the floor for this one. So this is one of those IKEA shelves. I think the whole thing cost me £100 or near that. So this is my kind of like a bit of a random shelf. I'm trying to make it to be from the first film, Star Wars. Now I've got a few things that people might not like in here. A few things people will love. So first off, this is the original 12 figures. They're all original. All the weapons are original. There's hardly any weapons on them, to be honest. I can't really afford it. I think Leia's cape might be not original. I bought it off somebody who might be a bit of a dodgy dealer. So yeah, this basically this whole case. This is a few random things. So it all came down. It all started because you notice here. This is a Palitoy 12-back Chewbacca. Now, this used to belong to my uncle, and I kept it because I love it so much, and I don't want to get rid of it really. But it really had the bubble attached, and I was just amazed. So I put Chewbacca inside it. I need to find a bowcaster because he fits in there quite easily. It doesn't damage the card any more than it really is. But you know, it's quite a rare thing to find. I mean, if he was carded, it'd be worth a hell of a lot of money. So that was one of the things that started off my collection, really. Next, we have a Darth Vader. He is the bubble has been split open, but I paid £30 for him. And then we have the Stormtrooper, which is pretty appalling, which people might not like. So when I purchased him, I was told that he was a I bought him at an auction, basically. I should have been paying more attention. This is what happens when you don't pay attention when you're starting out. This is the original card back, Palitoy card back, so it's worth a bit of money anyway. I think I paid £50 for it. And they've included a Stormtrooper. What they've done is they've pretty much taken a Stormtrooper bubble and just stuck it on top. Which to me is a bit of a pain in the ass, really. Because it's not original figure. The figure has been painted really badly, as you can see. On his elbows, that shouldn't be black. They should be more near like this figure here. Which is a right pain, really. I can show you him. You can tell that he's been, taken off the card. It's just a bit of a bad purchase, really. But it's one of those things where, over the years, the price has gone up on these things. And so, these Palitoy cards are worth a bit of money now. So, all in all, he's kind of gone up in price. Then we have Luke Skywalker here with the original helmet, original gun. I originally thought it was a black gun because it's really dark, but it's not. It's one of the blue ones. It looks so dark, but it's blue, unfortunately. That's the original helmet as well. Next to him is a custom Han Solo. I'm not a fan of fakes, but I do like customs, just as long as they're not damaging mint edition figures. I'm happy with that. That Leia blaster is original as well. That came in the job lot I bought off a guy where I cleared his house out, and he had hardly any Star Wars figures, but he had a Millennium Falcon, and in the little compartment was filled with weapons. Then we have Princess Leia. This is all original. Got this from a really nice guy at NEC, Toy Fair. Always the best show. She's complete. I paid like £90 for her, which I'm really surprised by, because I thought she'd be worth way more than that. But the box is a bit tatty, to be honest. But she is a Palitoy, which is always good, because I love Palitoy. I collect Palitoy Action Man, so anything to do with Palitoy I like. Then we have a Obi-Wan Kenobi Now I bought Obi-Wan Kenobi at the same time I bought Luke Skywalker over here. There goes my figures. Yeah, I bought Obi-Wan Kenobi the same time as I bought Luke over here. Now Luke came with, he's complete with his belt, which keeps falling off, and his lightsaber. He's got a bit blue moulding on his chin, which is annoying. It comes with his box. His box is Palitoy, so I had to have that. It also came with the Darth Vader you're going to see in a minute, which is technically Luke's Darth Vader. And I think I paid £120 postage for all 3 figures. Now you can see my Star Wars figures have decided to make an exit. This here is the Star Wars Cantina set, and it's nearly complete, apart from the trapdoor is missing, I believe. And the instructions are, strangely, have a piece cut out. I paid £50 for this. My friend, somebody I know, was in a toy shop. It's like a secret toy shop they talk about, like a honey hole, where they occasionally have vintage toys for something that's super cheap. Because the person who runs it doesn't know how much these toys are worth. So what they do is they say, give us Star Wars toys if you got them. They bring in Star Wars toys, they give them 150 quid for like 3 or 4 boxes worth, and then they just sell everything at whatever value they think is justified. So they charged £50 for this, and I could not believe it. When I got it, I thought it was fake at first, because I thought, no way can it be real. And when it turned up, my friend sent it to me. I can believe it is such a nice condition. It looks a bit more rougher now, but when you see it in the flesh, usually these boxes are really crushed. So it's nice to actually have something quite rare in my collection. It's also so nice to have something Star Wars. I love Star Wars, the first film. It's my favourite thing to collect. And then we have some of the bad things first. Now, this is a Obi-Wan Kenobi fake card. It's a Kenner card. Oh, it's not like a Kenner, it's a crap card as always. Usually speaking, I wouldn't buy these sort of things. I think I paid £10 for it because I really wanted Obi-Wan Kenobi with his cape and his lightsaber, which this card has. But unfortunately, the problem with that is you can't work out if it's real or not. Because chances are the cape's going to be fake, and so is the weapon. So I kind of got him like this as it is. I'm not going to sell him. I don't really know what to do with him really. Part of me wants to just bin it. But part of me thinks, well, what happens if that is real? Maybe I should take him out and, have him as loose. But chances are that lightsaber is fake. It's really nice condition, so it's going to be fake. If it wasn't fake, it'd be worth, 3 or 4 times what the card's worth. So unfortunately it's fake. So, when you do buy Star Wars toys, like I was a bit naive at first, when you buy fake cards like this, they might look nice and they might look good in your collection. You're more than entitled to have them. I'm not going to be one of those people that's against it. But please be aware that some people would like to scam people. And they will say this card's worth £400, and you go and save up your pocket money and buy your original card you had as a kid. You think, what have I bought? This is amazing. And then you realise it's not worth £400. Now, money's not always a value to people. Just having the toy's great. But would you ever pay £400 for this, or would you ever pay £10 for this? I think at £10, I think is somewhat justified because they're not trying to scam you. But the problem with this is, as soon as you start making these cards, there are people that will then try and scam people. So sadly, it's a right looking thing. It's not the worst fake in the world. But then you come down to this one here. So this Darth Vader is 100% complete, 100% real, apart from the box. It came as part of a deal, and I was originally a bit annoyed because when I bought it, I didn't realise it was going to be fake, and so the guy apologised and gave me some discount off the. He practically gave me it for free, really. So I thought, well, as it's free, I'm not going to argue with that. And then we have some of my other collection. So I do love the 12-inch. I do have the Stormtrooper and the Jawa as well. They won't fit in there currently. So I've got R2-D2, C-3PO. C-3PO still carded, and I think he's still attached to his bubble, or his backing card. This is, well, everybody knows who this is, Boba Fett. The cape is not real. The cape is actually a cover for a Action Man Talking Commander's backpack. But it looks kind of like what I imagine it would be like if I were ever to find a real cape, but they're so hard to find. Then we have Chewy. I bought Chewbacca on Christmas Day. I think I paid £80 for him with his box. He's a Kenner box. What's mad is on Christmas Day, people don't buy as much. And so I was picking up some good deals. And last but not least, we have the Star Wars blaster. I had the Empire Strikes Back one, but I sold him because I decided originally I was going to try and collect all three, and then I decided there's no point. I just don't have the space for it really. And here is an amazing acrylic, custom made acrylic stand. I think it's Ian Sanderson makes these. So he's the person you should hit up. They do sell them on eBay, on their eBay store. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. There's my drunken figures all falling over. Yeah, so most of my collection, you know, I bought at Car Boot itself through friends. Some of the bigger items I bought off the Facebook forums and groups, and some of that I traded at shows and toy shows. You know, if you ever go to a toy show and you want to buy something and you haven't got enough money, you can always trade your old toys with some dealers. I'm always up for a trade if it's good enough. Obviously, the dealer would have to get the better deal of the trade because that's how the trade works. But, you know, sometimes if you want to trade something for something else, chances are they might say yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you again.